Hey, Skylar, it's Candace.
Hey Candace, how you doing?
Good. Hey, Andres. Thanks so much for being here.
Hi, thank you so much for having me.
So excited to hear your presentation.
I'm excited too. It's gonna be a fun one.
Awesome.
Let's do it. Candace, I can't believe it's the last one already. We got to start planning for the fall now.
Yes, yes. They come so quickly, but they're
You
so
see how I just volunteered you already for the fall?
I love it. Listen, we have more people who would love to share their insights and their talents and their background on this platform. So we have them lined up, ready to go. So
All right,
fall, we're ready for fall.
let's do it. Let's do it. Oh, cool. I think we got people joining.
Yeah.
I think some may be joining as classes, so we may have. What time is it right now? Give it about a couple more minutes and then we'll jump into it.
For sure.
I don't see anybody else in the waiting room right now. Maybe we'll get started and then everybody join in late. We'll just have them join. Oh, as soon as I said that, somebody came. Okay.
We'll continue to roll the admissions in as they come in.
Okay,
But I definitely think that we should,
let's do it.
in respect of Andres' time and his presentation and giving everyone an opportunity to ask questions in the end, I'd love to get started.
Awesome, awesome. Well, thank you all for joining our Grammy Museum virtual workshops. We are excited to continue this partnership with Live Out Live, where we're getting great insight on the behind the scenes of the live entertainment industry. So I'm going to turn it over to the founder and CEO, Candace Newman. Candace, thank you again for all the work that you do, and we're excited for another program.
Thank you so much for having us. I'm Candace Newman, the CEO and founder of Live Out Live. And today we have Beyond the Main Stage. These are some sessions that we collaborate with the Grammy Museum on to bring some live music entertainment executives and professionals within that space to share their insights, their best practices, and to basically give you guys access to their network and who they are. So definitely be sure to connect with Andres after and follow up. And then also be sure to tap into our survey that we have so that we can continue to give you great content and presentations such as this one. But I will not hold you any longer. I will hand it over to Andres so that he can go ahead and kick off his presentation. We're so grateful to have you. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you so much. First of all, I really appreciate everything. Thank you for having me. To me, it's an honor to be here and to be able to share a little bit of my experience and a little bit of my thoughts on the industry. So I'm really excited. And before starting, I really wanted to tell everybody, if you guys have any questions, like Candace says, like let's save them for the last portion of the presentation. I will be glad to answer any questions, if not all of them, if we have time. And I wanted to give you a little bit of background on myself. My name is Andres Lugo. I'm from Colombia. I've been in the entertainment business for it's gonna be now 8 to 9 years. I started a little with music. I love music, but then when I graduated, I realized that I didn't want to be a performer. I wanted to be behind the scenes. So I went to school for sound engineering at Pulse University, and from there on, I started putting myself out for gigs and everything that I could get my hands on. And the live entertainment business just pulled me and brought me into it. So that's a little bit of brief of my background. Before starting the presentation, I'm gonna play a video that they put together for us. And yep, let's get to it.
estamos acá en el setup. Esta es la parte de adentro. Este es el Radio City. Este venue es hermoso. Me encanta venir acá. Acá la gente trabaja demasiado bien. Son muy estrictos con todo. Digamos, ahorita estamos en break y es un break mandatorio que cada 2 horas ellos tienen que tener, y mientras ellos están en break nadie puede trabajar, nadie puede tocar nada, nadie puede hacer nada, ni tirarse un peito. Entonces estoy esperando a que terminen su break para seguir trabajando, pero mientras tanto quería mostrarles la hermosura de este teatro. Es hermoso, 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 me encanta. Dan los credenciales acá. Este venue es una chingada.
All right. That was an amazing video. Well, welcome everybody to Production Management 101. First off, I wanted to start with talk about a little bit of what is production management, right? So get right into it. So what's production management? Production management is a part of any successful event. It involves the planning, organization, execution of anything that is logistical and aspect of the show for it to run really smooth, right? So we are the I would like to say that we're like kind of like the glue that holds everything together on the show aspect of it and everything that happens on the stage, right? And it's really important for us to be able to know a little bit of each into play, right? So there are many responsibilities that come into us, right? As I said here, we're seeing the entire production process from planning to execution, and we work with different departments like audio, lighting, video, stage design, the venues, artists, and promoters, right? So these departments, we are overseeing most of them, right? And many of them are helping us, like the venue, to produce and to get the event to the best potential that it can, right? We're doing this for the audience and the artists, right? So I always like to say that we are also in the hospitality business because we really like to take an event and give experience to a lot of thousands of people, and it's really important for us to communicate that through the show, right? We want people to be happy, with people to be dancing, people to cry in a good sense of crying, and we want the artists in that sense to feel comfortable, right? So it's really important that we know that, so we can do the best that we can to get the shows to a success. With these responsibilities, we have many of them, but I put a brief on the really important ones, on which on the first part of production, we have everything that is the planning, the pre-production, right? And on this we have scheduling. Let's say there are many schedules through an event and a show, right? But we are mostly getting together the schedule for the run of show. So the day of the show, at what time are we loading in? At what time do we have the labor come in? At what time do we have to give breaks to the labor? At what time do we have lunch, and so on, right? It's really important to be able to have this as a backbone and to be able to follow it, so you are not behind, right? There are many shows on where you have 2-3 days for a loading. There are shows that you only have 1 day, and if not hours to just do a whole loading for a show and then a load out right after. So it's really important to stick to this and to be able to plan accordingly for whatever it is that you're going to do, whether it's a festival, arena show, theatrical event, any kind of event, right? We're also take part on the hiring process. There are many circumstances. It depends either where you're a production manager from the artist, a production manager for a promoter, or just independent artist an independent producer that just they hire you for a little event. We need to get our team together, right? When I first started working on this, I remember something that really got into me, and that's my boss told me, wherever you go, just try to look at the people and see who's working really well, who's giving you extra 110%, and write down their name and write down their number, because you never know when you're gonna need them, whenever you're gonna need them for your team, right? And team here, it's really important. Creating an amazing team of sound engineers, of lighting designers, of video producers, stage managers, everything, creating that perfect team that will work together and will work seamlessly to create the entire show. It's gonna be your success. So we're in charge of that. We're in charge of hiring the team, hiring the vendors, and hiring the labor that we're gonna need for the day of show from the venue, right? So that's an important part of it. And with that comes management. I always say that I don't know if I like much of the word management or entirely like the boss, but it's more of a leader position. You are leading your team, the people that you hire, and other people that come outside to create a successful show, right? So it's really important to differentiate what being a boss and being a leader is. I give you an example. Let's say we are running a show for X artist, and we're at 10 a.m. in the morning and we're having some problems with the lights, right? And I'll go to my LD, to the vendor, or also and ask them, hey, what's going on? What can we do to solve it? And once they give me an answer, I ask them, how long do you think this is gonna take, right? They tell me, hey, it's gonna take me this, we're already on it, and we'll take it from there, right? Then 5 minutes before I come, the time that they told me, 5 minutes before that, I come and ask them, hey, how are we doing, right? So it's important to remember that the people, you gotta trust the people that you hire and that they're doing a great job. That's why they're there, right? Sometimes trust process on what's going on. Sometimes you gotta be more hands-on, but it's just leading the people that you have under not under you, but like that you have around you to help you do this, right? Now we have on the other side, we have the more office kind of job, on which is the budgeting, sitting down. Sometimes it depends on where you are. On myself right now, I'm a production manager for the promoter side, so they give me a budget and, hey, you have $60,000 for this show at the arena in Miami. And then I gotta look at what the writer says from the artist, what we have, and we have to quote it, right? Sometimes, most of the times, you're gonna be over the budget, right? So we have to find ways to negotiate and bring this down, right? So you always want to, no matter what, negotiate with the vendors to bring the prices down. Even if you're under budget, you always want to try to bring down those prices, because the more money we save, the more profit there is for everybody involved, right? So that's really important to know. There are times that you have to create a budget from zero. That's more from the artist side, and then the more the executives and the promoter side. And then there are times that just give you the budget and then you play with it. It just really depends on what side you're in and on what's being brought to you. Not every show is the same. Not every show has the same contract, and then you just gotta play around with it. And then the other responsibility is the run of show, the day of the show. From the instance that you go into the venue all the way until you're out, all the equipment's out, you're responsible for what's going on in production wise. So you gotta make sure that that your people are okay and they're happy. I did a video not too long ago on where I was talking about the labor. Sometimes you're gonna find labor that is not too compliant and they're in a bad mood and they come in the morning and they've been working back to back, so they're super tired. And then there's little small gestures that you give to them. It helps. For example, having coffee for them in the morning. You have no idea how that changes. That's incredible to me. You have coffee to them and they, after the coffee break that they have before the loading, they are in the best mood ever. And that's because they see that you are taking care of them. So they're going to take care of you. That goes into everybody, right? So from the moment that you load in, you're taking care of the people that are taking care of you. You're trying to follow all the schedules that you have. And not every show is going to be perfect. Sometimes it's going to be an easy show. Sometimes it's going to be a really hard show. So you got to always be in that problem solver mentality. And not take things for granted. I had instances somewhere the smallest show where it's something really simple. Things go totally wrong, and I by the time that doors are open, sometimes I don't have what I need, and we have to hold doors and everything. So just always be prepared for those days of show. And with that, you also have to take care of yourself. Okay? The run of show, a tip that I give to everybody and to people that are starting out is, yeah, do your job. But at the moment that you feel that, hey, I need to take 5 minutes, go outside, take 5 minutes, go drink a coffee real quick, and come back to the job. You always have to be in the right mindset to do this, right? You're the backbone, you're the glue. So if you're wrong, if you're not feeling okay, and then you're upset or you're sad or whatever it is, people from your team are gonna notice, and if something happens on the other side, you won't be able to be in the right mindset to do it. So always take care of yourself, right? So with this, we have many key players in our team and people that we work with, and these players, yeah, we have the production manager, which will be myself in the instance. We have technical directors on where sometimes you have them, sometimes you don't. They're more in the Broadway kind of thing. Also in shows, you see them. Sometimes the technical director are the ones that create the show, like they do the designs and everything, so they'll be there and the first 2 days and to help you set up what you need, any doubts that you have. Then you have your stage manager. Your stage manager is going to be your eyes on stage. Sometimes the production manager is not on stage and they have to be in front of house running the show, and the stage manager will be your right hand. Anything goes south on stage, they will be the ones to take care of. Also in the loading, they're the ones usually with your stage manager, you give the labor to them, and they will be able to allocate what each department needs and give them the labor that they need and solve any problems that they have on stage. Then we have the sound engineers, lighting directors, and video directors. With these guys, we wouldn't be anything, right? They're really important. In sound engineer, you have other people below them that goes the RF coordinator, the A2s, and then you have the monitor engineer, and then you have the front of house engineer, right? From the lighting director, they're mostly always operate by themselves, but they do have people under them. Sometimes it's the spot operators from the venue. They're calling the shots. They're telling them, hey, I need you to illuminate this guy, the guitarist, whatever. So they're always telling them what specifics they need for the show. And then the video director, we all love to see great graphics on a show, right? So big LED screen. Well, this guy is the one that will direct that. He has camera operators, switcher operators under him, and he's the one that's also calling the shots on the camera and everything, and they will communicate to ClearCom whatever they need. We have our backline technician. Some people are really good at instruments. It's incredible to me. They know anything about the instruments, how to change classic strings, how to change regular strings on a bass, build all the drum set. I myself, I know about backline, but really not in a really in-depth field. If they put me to change, I don't know, a cello string, I'm not gonna be able to. So these guys are the ones that will help you on that, and they are amazing. Backline guys are all most of the time they're the most chillest ones, and they're super nice. So I have a lot of love for them, and yeah, they'll put your instruments where you need to go, how they need them, and everything. So that's amazing. Then we have riggers, on which normally the venue provides. Some tours will travel with their head rigger, so they can mark the floor when you come in and let the riggers from the house know what they need. Some tours don't, and then we use the head rigger from the house, right? So they're extremely important. I have an immense respect for these people, because they go up in the ceiling, and they're like, in arenas, that's crazy. In arenas, they go up in the ceiling, and they're in like this in this like really narrow steel bars and everything. So I have a lot of respect for them. And then we have a special effects specialist, on where they bring your pyro, your confetti, your CO2 tanks, you name it. Any kind of effect that you guys see from the artist, these guys take care of it. They're usually licensed, because they're managing a lot of pyrotechnics and flames, and that's always you always need to have a license for that. And then security and crowd control personnel. So these are sometimes one of the hardest jobs when you have a really big band that's really well known. They will make sure that your team is safe. Not only the artists, but your team. We're always trying to work as safe as we can, and we need to everybody feel safe. So they are awesome. I mean, there is not much to explain there. They're the ones that will help you with all the security, but they do really play a really important role in the shows. There are many other positions that we can talk about, and other positions that are not into the production that we do work together. We'll be here sitting for a lot, but these are your main guys that you will have to deal with as a production manager. And now we enter into the pre-planning, right? What's pre-production? Like I mentioned before, in the budgeting and financing, you're always going to do and try to do budgets before the shows and set everything. I like to work like that, and where I close as much as I can before the tour starts. If I can't, then it is what it is. I'll still do it during through the tour. But once you jump into the tour, there's the less time that you have to do everything else, right? You are now worrying about running a show and for it to be successful. Venue selection and logistics. This normally is the promoter side on where they work on this. Sometimes they come to us and they ask us, "Hey, do you think this venue is appropriate for this kind of show? Do you think we can do a smooth loading in here, whatever it is, and they ask for us, then we ask for the technical writer from the venue, and we look at it and we let them know, and we suggest, and we just suggest whether we should do a show there or we shouldn't. A stage design and construction. So a stage design, it's something that I like to do. I normally don't do it too often because it takes a lot of time, but this is like the creative part of a show, right? They build the stage from zero and then put the lights in a certain way, the audio that they need, all the effects, all the props, and it's a really creative part of it. So if you guys ever want to, if you feel that you're more creative, maybe you can also try to go through that route. Stage design is amazing, and it's well paid. So just leaving that out there as well. Sound and lighting design, they go with the stage design. The stage designer will talk to the lighting and sound and say, hey, we're doing this. Do you guys feel comfortable with this? What should we do? What do you need? Anything that you can think of for the day, right? Transportation accommodations. Normally, if you're in the artist side, you have to do this for your crew, right? And you have to see if you need to rent a tour bus, or you need to do flights, rent hotels, just make sure everybody's taken care of. And if you're in the promoter side, probably you have someone in your team, like a logistics coordinator, that will do this. So it really depends on where you are, but sometimes it has to be done. If not, if you're not the one that do it, you still have to like pass along the information that what you need, and that's where it goes. Venue advancing, really important. This is normally when you sit down, call the venue and be like, hey, this is our writer, this is what we're coming with, we're gonna need this and this and this from you. So you most likely will talk about labor, you will talk about equipment that you need, if you need a forklift rental, if you need any permits. Some cities like New York, Boston, you will need permits, like parking permit or fire pilot permits, and they are they take time to get out, so you have to do it with time prior to the show, right? You have to do it with a lot of time before. So it's really important to always ask in your advance call, hey, do you guys need any permits? Or do we need to take out? Some venues do it, some venues don't. Some venues tell you, hey, you have to take out your own permits. So in these advance calls, you will discuss all the needs of the show with the venues. Safety and emergency planning. Normally, this is something that if you're from the artist, the security or the management from the artist will tell you, hey, we need this, this, and this. We need a medical assistant every show. We need security for this because we're gonna have a meet and greet, or the artist is gonna stay here. We need extra security. Whatever the need is, you always have to plan ahead. Sometimes you won't need any extra safety or security. Sometimes you have an emergency and you want to be any hospitals or anything that are around. So it's something that you will advance with the venue. So this is also part of the pre-planning. And then crew booking and coordination, getting your team right. So sometimes your team is really busy and they get called a lot, and you call them, they're not available. So do this in advance, book them in advance, coordinate what they need, and what is it that you're gonna need for everybody to be with you at all times during the tour, right? And then we come into, after the pre-planning, we come more into the execution part of it. So talking a little bit more in depth of loading and setup, which I've talked a little bit before. while you're doing it, your advance, you want to set times, right? As I mentioned in the scheduling, during loadings, it's really important that everybody comes in on time. So if you have the crew, everybody, if you say 8 a.m. we start, then everybody starts at 8 a.m. Because whether you cruise there or not, the clock is running and they're charging you already for labor, for the rental, for anything that is going on in the venue at that time, and they won't do an exception just because you got there late, right? So we have during those loadings, as I mentioned, take care of your people, set up what you need. I always like to set up a nice little space as my office, because at the end of the day, you're gonna be in that office for 18 hours straight, and you need something that reminds you a little bit of home, or something that feels more calm, whatever it is, do it. Rehearsals and sound checks, these are really important, and normally they're done before, right? Rehearsals are done before the tour, but there are some times that they will have rehearsals during the shows. So you have to coordinate with the band, you have to coordinate with the artists. Hey, we're doing this at this time, to be, so everybody is aware and so they can be there on time. Because sometimes the sound check is 3 to 5, and then at 5 you have to do a walk away. You cannot pass that. If not, you're gonna get a penalty, a meal penalty from the labor that is there. So you really want to be precise on this for rehearsals and sound checks. I do wanted to say sometimes are gonna go. Some days are gonna go really good. Some days are not. Sometimes you're gonna be on schedule. Sometimes you're gonna be really late, right? Don't freak out. You do what you need to do. You have to bring. It makes the labor stay longer because you're not done. You have to do it. At the end of the day, the show is gonna happen no matter what. So you make sure of that, right? So if you're late and you were supposed to have sound check at 2 in the morning, at 2 in the afternoon, but and it's 5 o'clock and you haven't done a sound check, it's okay. Just hustle, get everything that you need to get done. I have instances on we do sound check as the show starts. I did a show with Gilberto Santa Rosa, and we had a show in El Paso, Texas, and then next stop was Houston, and their bus, their flights got canceled. The artists and the musicians' flights got canceled. They had to do a bus from El Paso. It was like 8 hours. No, it was more like 12 hours, something like that. And the artists and the musicians got there right when the show started. So they got there at 8 p.m. and they had to get out of the bus and go straight to the stage to do a quick sound check, a light sound check with everybody, make it like a jam, and then start the show. So things happen, and just do whatever you need to do. Showtime, managing the performance, cues, and transitions. More important when you start and when you finish, right? You always have to have a timeline for that. If you want to, you gotta coordinate with everybody. You always want to start when the venue is at 70% or more of people coming in capacity. If you see that it's too slow, maybe you have to wait a little bit and let people in. But there's always like a cutoff time on where you cannot pass that show time, because if not, there are penalties that you have to deal with after at the end, because you passed the hour limit that you had, right? So starting the show on time is really important. And throughout the managing the performance, there are many production managers where they like to just sit at the front of the house and call for the cues, and call for transitions, and call for anything. There are some production managers where they have the artist on the ear, and the artist has a microphone where it has a switch, and they can talk through a separate channel. They talk to you, and then the production manager calls everything that the artist is saying. There's production managers sometimes in shows that you don't need to do that, and the show just runs by itself. right? But you always gotta be attentive to what's going on, just in case something goes bad. The sound, the PA stop working, video will stop showing image, or whatever the case is. You always gotta be paying attention. And then the loadout. Normally loadouts are 3 to 4 hours, and depending on where you are and what you're doing. At that point, everybody's extremely exhausted. You know, it's been a long day for everybody, so everybody's trying to get the hell out of the out of the venue, and so do you, right? So you're trying to be as efficient as you can and help as much. I like to help sometimes, even though if it's packing up stuff or whatever, helping out people. I like to help out in some instances on where I know that we need to be out. So we can all just get some rest and go to the next show. And with this, yeah, I just wanted to do a quick recap, and more than a recap, I just wanted to let you know that whatever is it that you're planning to do in the entertainment business, and if you want to become a production manager, it doesn't matter where you start. I started as a sound engineer. I know people who started as a pyrotech. I know people that didn't start anything like that, and it's their first time, and they open the door for them, and they just come in as a production manager. So it really doesn't matter. If you really want to do it, you can make it. Always be kind, always be human, right? You deal with a lot of people, and it's important to remember that everybody is there doing their best, and that's why you gotta give your people, right, your best as well on them. So any questions will be awesome to answer. Thank you so much, everybody, for listening.
Thank you, Andres. Thank you so much. So we are going to open up the floor at this time for Q&A. We'll leave the last 15 minutes or so for anyone that has questions to raise their hand. And when you do raise your hand, if you could actually come on camera, say hello to Andres and ask your question, and I'm sure he'll be happy to answer. So feel free to start raising your hand, and we'll call on you guys. I see Fatima.
Yeah, Fatima. So do you want me to open my camera?
You don't have to. You can just go ahead and ask your question, but I want you to just come on video and ask. Yeah.
Okay. Hi, thank you so much for speaking. Okay, I actually have a few questions, if that's okay. Do you want me to just ask one, or?
Or whichever. Let's go. Let's start. Let's try to answer all of them.
Okay. So my main question is, what's the difference between a production manager and a creative director, or like an operations manager? And are they similar? And if so, how are they similar?
So the creative director, I mean, usually from a production management point, you have the creative director it's responding to you, right? So even though, let's say, the artist talks to the creative director, hey, I want this, and this, and they build the whole stage and they build the whole idea that they want, that person still has to take it to the production manager. The creative director is in that creative part, right? He will everything, and you're there for the day of the show and the planning of executing the plan that they had, right? So that's the main difference. You're executing what they had, and they're the ones that are creating the show itself, or whatever idea they're doing.
Right.
So there are two different positions. But once the show is there, you're the one in charge of making that dream come true.
So would you say, like, there's more of a project management aspect to being a production manager? Because you're working with businesses and you're reaching out to, like, the record label and crew and all that stuff.
Yeah, if you're more of a, if you're reaching out to the record labels and you're working on business and creating making deals, whatever it is, you're more of a project manager than a production manager. Production manager is more of the side of the stage, or what's going on stage,
right,
and all the execution of the show, right? Everything else will come to the other hands.
Okay, makes sense. Thank you for answering.
Thank you for your question. You have any other questions?
Not right now.
Cool. Thank you.
No, thank
This would have been a good time, Fatima. Okay, we have Gabriela.
Hey, Gabriela, how are you?
Hi, thank you so much. It's like the first video was like so like motivating and inspiring because I've gone to Radio City and it is a beautiful venue. So that was really exciting. But yeah, I do have some questions. So it does sound like as a production manager, you are overseeing a lot of things. So like the engineering, the like you said right now, like the creativeness of it. What would you say are the main skills you should have as a production manager?
The main skills you should have is people management, I would say, one of them. Two, it's know how to communicate, right? So it's a management position at the end of the day, where you have to take care of a lot of things and be able to interact with a lot of people. So being that person that will be able to tell and lead everybody else needs a lot of a strong and how you say it? Let me think about it, because I'm thinking about it in Spanish and it's not coming out in English. Yeah, you just need to be really certain and like be able to talk to people and be able to manage that people lead them. So it'd be more like a leader. That think that for me, that's like the key things that you need as a production manager. Anything else you can learn as you go, or not even as you go, before that or anything like that. But the technical part of it, that's why your engineers are there, because they know the technical part of it. You're there to just be the problem solver and be able to lead them. So I guess throw a problem solver into it. You need to be quick into problem solving, right?
I have another question. Like, how big are the teams you manage, including like you mentioned, like all the engineers and like all the staff?
It really does depend of the kind of show. The team that you have for a small 2,000 venue, 2,000 people venue is not the same that you're gonna have for a stadium, right? But let's talk normally, right? Let's count them, because I haven't even actually never counted them before. But you have your audio engineers, right? Which mainly there are two: front of house and monitor engineer. You have your lighting director, then you have your video director, right? And then you have they probably have a stage manager. We have 5 right there. With that team, you'll be able to make a show, right? That's like a very basic thing that you have and that you need to make a show. But then you'll need, if it's a bigger show, you need an RF coordinator. You need the background tech. You need an A2 probably, camera operators. So the list starts going up and up and up and up. That's not even counting the labor that you have to hire the day of the show. Sometimes you hire 10 people, sometimes you hire 25 people, right? So it just depends. But the basic is the one that I mentioned: 2 audio engineers, lighting, video, and stage manager.
I'm gonna ask another question.
Okay, no problem.
So I'm like interested in knowing about like the safety, like, or like also like do you outsource like certain things? So do you work with certain companies? I'm thinking more of like security.
Okay.
I know like there's companies that do security. How does that kind of work from your perspective or your role?
So normally it depends on what side you are as a production manager. If you're from the artist side, there are vendors that work for security, and you normally contact them normally, right? And you ask them, hey, I need somebody to be 24/7 with the artist. I need this, and this. I need them to be able to take strong crowds, to be able to travel a lot. Whatever is your needs are, you call them and they give you a quote, and then they do that. Sometimes it's happened before where you call the vendor, but you like the guy so much, and the guy likes you so much that they just hire him directly and they start working with the management team directly, you know? So it really depends. We are always working with vendors, whether it's security, whether it's lights, audio, whatever it is. We're always working with them because the artist won't have all the equipment that they need, and the promoter won't have all the equipment that you need, and the people that you need. So yeah, so there's always a contact with outsource and vendors, if that answers your question. Awesome. Do you have any other questions, or you're good?
I'll let somebody ask, but if I think of something else, I'll raise my hand again.
No problem.
Are there any other questions? I don't see any other hands. It might be your chance, Gabriella, to ask your additional questions, so hold on to them. Okay, I see Teresa.
Teresa,
Hello, my friend. How are you?
how are you?
I'm doing well. I'm glad I can be on this call. So I wanted to know, working with Andres, I've been able to see him in action, and he's 100% on top of everything at all times. So definitely the right person to be speaking today. But my question is, when it comes to production manager pool and making decisions when on tour, who gets the most pull, the production manager from the artist side or from the promoter side?
And when you mean pull, is who has the last word, who makes the actual decision?
Exactamente.
Okay, so it depends. It depends because both sides will always try to for them to go their way. And honestly, when it comes to me, I don't see on both sides. I just see it as what's the best for the show, right? So if it makes sense, what the artist management is saying, it makes sense to me, I'll gladly agree with them. But if it doesn't make sense and I see a red flag, I have to raise it and I'll tell them, hey, no, I don't think we should do this. Whether it's to the production manager on the other side or the artist manager, or if it's to my team. So I bring the question to the tour manager, or the problem to the tour manager, or to whoever is in charge of the tour. So it really does depend. It really does depend. Sometimes on our side, we're the ones that make the decision. Sometimes they're the ones that make the decision. Sometimes we just agree on something. It depends. It's not something that is set.
No tug of war. Got it. Gracias, amigo.
A ti, gracias por estar acá.
Thank you, Teresa. Are there any other questions? We would love to hear from you guys. We have a good 5 to 7 more minutes for you guys to have the floor with Andres and ask him any questions. Gabriella, let's hear from you again.
Sorry, I'm like, well, nobody's asking questions, so I'm gonna ask questions.
Don't apologize. We love the questions. The questions are also informing the whole entire group. So
yeah. So I'm actually doing a transition, and so I would like to hear your advice of like how to break into the industry. A lot of the internships I have found require you to still be a student, and I already graduated.
Mhm.
So I've been struggling a bit to just find the opportunity to even like, I don't mind working for free. I just want to get that experience of working like a live event. So
Okay.
if you have any like recommendations or advice on that.
Let me ask you something first. What is it that you have done before? The internship that you've done, what is it that you have done so far?
Yeah, so I was in nonprofit and education. So I was like an education manager. So I was in charge of managing logistics for like graduations and like community events and art events.
Mhm.
And right now I'm doing a digital marketing course. So I'm like learning about like just marketing in social media, Google, and all of that. And yeah, that's where I'm at right now and some of my experience in the past.
And now my question is, so I'm able to answer the question more in detail. Is production what you want to do, or is it more on the signing the artist, being artist management? What is it that you want to do more in the entertainment business?
I think I love live events because that's what like got me to thinking of like even considering music industry. So I also like fast pace and like the adrenaline of things. So I would like to be there, like managing the logistics of
Okay.
what's going on. So when you were talking about it, I was like, maybe this is what I've been looking for.
Okay. Well, there are many routes that you can go, and none of them are wrong, right? From what I can tell you from my experience, if it's actually like it doesn't really sound like you want to be in the part of the production like doing sound or lighting or anything. It's more in the logistics part. I'm like, I don't know, booking the flights, making the deal, and everything, right? But there are certain things that you need to know from each department so you start going at that. So my recommendation is try to start looking for positions in a promoter side, right? Live Nation, maybe EAG, whatever promoter, it's easier and accessible to you. Whether it's a hybrid job or it's a remote, doesn't matter, it gets you in there, right? Then you start scaling up onto where you want to be, but always be letting management know and everything that whatever you are, is like, hey, this is my ultimate goal. I want to do this, I want to learn this. Always be super curious about everything and be a sponge. Try to learn as much as you can. I feel like that's always a really good route to go. Sometimes it's really hard to get artists and being the team of the artist unless you know someone. And in the promoter side of the industry, you get to know a lot of people. So maybe that's your best way to network through that live event and going that way. That's my advice. But like I said, there's no wrong or right. You can start doing anything else, or you can maybe find someone tomorrow and meet someone tomorrow that's actually in the artist side, and they hire you because they like how you work or how you are as a person, you know. You're welcome.
Listen, thank you, Candace. Thank you, Grammy Museum, Siler, everyone, Andreas, Lugo. If I'm pronouncing that wrong, sorry, y'all. I'm a country girl down here in Georgia. But listen, anybody on this call, especially Candace, if y'all want to do anything, we need all the help we can. In Columbus, we're putting together a Ma Rainey Music Festival, an official one, in honor of the Mother of the Blues, and it's destined for next year, Mother's Day weekend. So listen, young lady, Gabriella, you want to come help? I'll find a budget. I'll find the investor to do whatever we need to do. But I would totally love any support that you young people need. I'm all about this. But Candace, thank you, because I'm learning. Right, I'm learning as I go, and I really appreciate your platform for just doing this. And if y'all have the one from the festival, I'm going to study it like glue. And next year, I'm going to thank you again on that stage and say, all possible.
Amazing. I love it. This is what it's all about. This is what it's all about.
Absolutely. What's your name? I'm sorry, I missed your name.
My name is Z Lawrence. Because I don't want to bug you, because everybody was trying to meet on Grammy Museum Week, but this is my first year being a me. But listen, y'all, take advantage of everything that Live Out Loud does. What they're doing is very knowledgeable, and follow Grammy Museum. I promise you, it's like going to school. And I'm learning, and I'm actually doing. So take it from a 43-year-old. It's best to learn young, and then you can just be at Candace level, probably way before my age. So that's all I had to say.
I really appreciate that. And thank you so much for dropping that insight. It's super important that you guys tap in now, like Z suggested. And you being here is an example of your thirst to understand this world and gain the knowledge necessary to learn from the likes of Andres and myself and other professionals. So I suggest you guys all to tap in with Andres. I'm going to leave him the last word so that he can share wherever he would prefer you guys to connect with him at. But I also would recommend that you guys connect with Z as well. Any young professionals who's looking for an opportunity to get your to shadow or gain some sort of experience on the ground, it's priceless. And obviously, as Z mentioned, continue to follow Live Out Live for free access to live entertainment, education, resources, networking, and whatnot. So I'm going to hand it back over to Andres so that he can share where you can reach him at following this event, and any other last words that he may have.
Perfect. First of all, thank you everybody for sticking around, for hearing me out. Again, it's been an honor and a pleasure to be here. I do want to leave the door open if anybody wants to talk or anything. You guys can reach me on Instagram if it's easier for you, at Felipe Lugo Gil, and just text me through there. Sometimes it's not to be mean. Sometimes I take long because I'm on the run and I don't have a lot of time to look at social media. But when I do, I will gladly to respond. Also, I want to leave the door open. If you guys see in social media that I'm in your city in a tour, just let me know. Let me know. I will try to make my best so you can come for an hour or two and see what's going on behind stage and behind the scenes. And that maybe be able to help some people in here. So I just want to leave the door open. Please reach out if you have any more questions, if you want advice or anything. I'll try my best, and from my humble opinion, tell you what you should do. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, Andres, and thank you so much to the Grammy Museum for this collaboration and this partnership, and for allowing us to continue to bring live music industry resources and education to our communities.
Thank you all. We'll see you guys on the next one.
All right.
Andres, thank you. Candace, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Everybody.